But storytelling, what that does is in our lives, whether it be our history, whether it be our current activity, it is fundamental for understanding our reasoning, our logic, for understanding why we do what we do, when we do it, and how we do it.
So I was sort of curious. I'm trying to understand now. At what point did you decide to focus on business, and what particularly led you into business? Since we understand now that you have a strong passion for activism, which of course we're going to talk about later, and
Yes.
then you have a lot of passion in other areas that might not necessarily. Okay, anything can be business, because business is nothing more than service. You help
Right.
people, then you get something from it. That is business. So, but help me understand. At what point in your life did you pay more attention to business?
Yes. So my background as well personally was in the arts. I have a bachelor's degree in fine arts. I concentrated on painting and figurative painting. And I remember all those hours and hours and hours spent in studio painting. And what I realized in my bachelor's degree, I also, studied psychology and philosophy and anthropology, sociology, etc., which I loved, which I find I used those aspects every day in my life. But in painting, it's that idea of creating whatever you have, So creating what you have in front of you.
Thank you for checking out this video. Are you getting enough value from it? You see, this video was created for the purpose of adding value to you. So if this video make any sense to you, let me know in the comment section below. I'm interested in understanding what you take away from this video and if it makes sense to you, so we can provide more. Now let's return to the video. Understanding that you are living in Italy, which is also where I'm living in,
Yes.
that you touch also a part of your family history, it all becomes very important for me in a more deeper sense. This is for the fact that here we spend a lot of time on storytelling, because we believe the power of storytelling. We believe it is absolutely fundamental, whether you are looking at it from the point of view of business, or you're looking at how to keep our heritage. It's all essential for us. So I'm sort of trying to understand how much does storytelling holds in what you do, or in your passion too. Of course, later we're also going to talk about your activism. But tell me, I'm trying to understand, how much do you place on storytelling as a person?
Right. And I think storytelling gives us perspective. It gives us an idea and understanding of our ethos, of what is important to us. Everyone has a different background and story, and it greatly influences their present and their future and their areas of interest, etc. Of course, we come from families, we come from geographic locations, we come from social systems and support systems, which make up our foundation for the way we behave, the way, our values, what our values are, the way our ethics are, how strong our ethics play. And it's interesting on how it influences what we do and our decision making, etc. So I think it's important to identify that and to understand how that drives us. So, I also come on from a mother who is extremely business minded. She was an amazing businesswoman, but she basically gave up her business there's four of us. I come from a family of four brothers. I've got one brother and two sisters. And, it's a fairly big family. And my mother was a bulldozer. She gave us the best education, the best childhood. We were happy as can be, as supported as can be, and with plenty of difficulties, because, she was also a single mother, because my father, who was always in the picture, he was not in our family structure, which is interesting, which is very different than a lot of traditional families. So I come from a very strong mother, and a very supportive father too, but he was supportive as he could be. So, and I appreciate his support very much as well. But storytelling, what that does is in our lives, whether it be our history, whether it be our current activity, it is fundamental for understanding our reasoning, our logic, for understanding why we do what we do, when we do it, and how we do it.
So I was sort of curious. I'm trying to understand now.
Mhm.
At what point did you decide to focus on business, and what particularly led you into business? Since we understand now that you have a strong passion for activism, which of course we are going to talk about later, and then
Yes,
you have a lot of passion in other areas that might not necessarily. Okay, anything can be business, because business is nothing more than service. You help
right.
people, then you get something from it. That is business. So, but help me understand. At what point in your life did you pay
Mhm.
more attention to business?
Yes. So my background as well personally was in the arts. I have a bachelor's degree in fine arts. I concentrated on painting and figurative painting. And I remember all those hours and hours and hours spent in studio painting. And what I realized in my bachelor's degree, I also, studied psychology and philosophy and anthropology, sociology, etc., which I loved, which I find I've used those aspects every day in my life. But in painting, it's that idea of creating whatever you have, creating. So creating what you have in front of you. It's the idea of concentration. I can be very highly focused because of my hours spent painting, where you need to it's the form of expression, etc. So now I did visual arts, I did digital arts, I moved on, I also did sculpture, I moved on, and this was in my undergraduate degree, so when I was young. So I always worked in the arts, but even in my university years, but I graduated when I was 20 years old with my bachelor's degree. I also did theater, I did dance, I did percussion as well, and I also did African percussion, which djembe and etc., which I found to be these forms of art which are very important for personal expression. Dance and movement and theater and being able to interpret. I find that to be fundamental for the way we express ourselves and in our communications. So in the arts are difficult to translate into a career. I realized later in my life, in moving on with my studies, completing a master's degree in linguistics and going on into new technologies and communications, etc., and digital arts or multimedia arts, that there are applications there that are fundamental, but it's the business side. In the meantime, I was reading The Economist from cover to cover, from the first page to the last, every single week. And I love that magazine. I don't know if you've ever read The Economist, but I'm a big supporter. It's because of the fact that it's the logical side of it that gives you, it's understanding how the world works, how powers in the world work, how what influences what. Okay, and that also includes. I love technology. I love politics. So, and those are all related. So, in my education, starting, I went to private school and I had a great education where we did a big curricular that covered everything. So, a good foundation in business development, okay, in politics, in world affairs, what happens in the world and how it affects each other. So, how it affects people, but how it affects the way things function. So I began to concentrate on business because I was so independent. I left when I was my first year abroad. I was 19 until I was 20 years old. And I lived in the Czech Republic in Prague and went to Charles University and the Fine Arts Academy, the Akademie Vyššího umění. And I did it by myself. Nobody paid for that. I made my own money. I've always made my own money. So it's one of those things where, coming from a family of a lot of kids with, my mother did everything she could for us. She made sure we had the best foundation possible. My father as well. But when I left home.
Hi, and thank you for checking out this short clip from Obehi Podcast. I'm Obehi Ewanfo, the host of the Obehi Podcast. This short clip was created from a full episode where we dive deep into this conversation. To see the entire video, all you need to do is to click on the link in the description of this video. Now, while you are there, I want to share something with you quickly. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract the right audience, leveraging the power of storytelling? Now, pay attention. I'm currently working on a signature program to help you own your story and stand out for the competition. It's a 5-step journey to help reshape your professional and business narrative so you can drive success and stand out in the competition. And in less than 90 days. The link is what you see on your screen, academy.aclasses.org/story. Now, this is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument that is known to man. And this is what this could mean to you. You could either choose to own your story and leverage it to amplify your message and whatever you represent in this world, or some other person could own that story. The choice is yours. So why don't take advantage of your story and use it wherever you are, whether you are in business environment or you are a professional individual who want to be able to build your influence and leave a legacy behind because you represent something. You are owning your story. You are somebody whose story is important. So the choice again is yours. Now let's get started with this short clip.